For our daily cancellation today, we must discuss a story that in another time and another place you would assume is parody. It starts with a man named Kelly Donohue, a contestant on the now Trebeckless Jeopardy. Donohue on Tuesday appeared on the game show after his third win. While being introduced by the host, he briefly flashed 3 fingers to the camera. You can see it. 3 fingers, signifying that he'd won 3 times. We know that this is the meaning behind the 3 fingers because the day before he had flashed 2 fingers and before that 1. Now, I'm no math whiz, but I'm starting to sense maybe a pattern here. Now, if you're a normal person, a well-adjusted person, you might see the 3 fingers, not understand the context, and not do any research into the issue because it doesn't matter. Such a person, the normal well-adjusted type, if you see someone hold up 3 fingers and doesn't know why, will think, oh, well, I guess there's some banal reason why he's holding up 3 fingers. Okay, well, I guess I'll just continue on living my life now. But the problem, of course, is that we live in a country overrun by people who are not normal or well-adjusted. Many people, sadly, are emotionally stunted lunatics with the IQs of doorknobs. And so the fact that a guy on Jeopardy held up 3 fingers became a problem, a controversy, a source of outrage. It was decided by the doorknob clan that Kelly's 3-finger salute was actually a secret message to his fellow white supremacists. Kelly Donohue may seem like a mild-mannered Jeopardy contestant, but beneath that facade, he's a skinhead and a terrorist. And we know this because he moved his fingers in a certain way. That's what the mob decided. As the controversy grew, a post appeared on Medium, purportedly from a group of former Jeopardy contestants. Almost 600 former contestants apparently signed this letter denouncing Kelly Donohue for holding up 3 fingers. Again, I'm not making this up. This is not a parody. This is real. This is a lengthy letter posted, apparently signed by 600 people, condemning someone for arranging their fingers in a certain way. The letter first condemned Donohue for apparently saying the word gypsy on Monday, so the day before the 3-finger assault. He said the word gypsy in response to a clue. The word gypsy is now offensive, apparently. I'm not sure what else you're supposed to call gypsies. I also don't care. But the gypsy kerfuffle was not the biggest problem. As the letter says, reading now, it says, quote, Tuesday, April 27th was a more widely felt misstep. During his on-camera introduction, Kelly made a gesture with his hand that he has since claimed was an indication that he had won 3 games. He had on previous episodes indicated with 1 finger and 2 fingers that he had won 1 and 2 games, and no reasonable person would have interpreted those gestures differently. However, this gesture was not a clear-cut symbol for the number 3. He held his thumb and forefinger together with his other 3 fingers extended and palm facing inward, and he tapped his chest. This, whether intentional or not, resembled very closely a gesture that has been co-opted by white power groups, alt-right groups, and an anti-government group that calls itself the 3%ers. In a public Facebook post that has since been deleted, Kelly states, "That's a number 3, no more, no less." His public Facebook profile also features a cover photo of Frank Sinatra making a similar gesture. This was either erased or made private on Wednesday morning, along with hundreds of public comments on his few Jeopardy-related posts. Regardless of his stated intent, the gesture is a racist dog whistle. Some of the first people to notice this were not affiliated with Jeopardy in any way. They were viewers who couldn't believe what they'd seen, captured it on video, and shared it on Twitter. Among them were people of color who, needless to say, are attuned to racist messaging and not appreciative that the show allowed this symbol to be broadcast. Oh, but wait, it gets dumber. Continuing. Most problematic to us as a contestant community is the fact that Kelly has not publicly apologized for the ramifications of the gesture he made. If something has been misconstrued, an apology and a total disavowal of any connection to white supremacist doctrines is called for. Oh my gosh. We saw that gesture air on television. We are among the public it affected. And we are a diverse group of people of color, religious minorities, and other marginalized groups already live in the United States and in Canada that have structural institutional racism, sexism, anti-Semitism, ableism, homophobia, and transphobia embedded into their history and function. These people deal with microaggressions nearly every day of their lives through words, actions, and assumptions that remind them on a constant basis that they are not the default, they are not the mainstream, they are not real citizens. And that is hard enough. That is enough for them to bear and enough for us to keep trying to recognize, to address, and to fight. That is already a series of walls and fences that keeps us from truly reaching the American ideal of e pluribus unum. We cannot stand up for hate. We cannot stand next to hate. By the way, this is all still about the fingers. Okay. We cannot stand on stage with something that looks like hate. We are ashamed to be associated with brands and identities that suffer the taint of hateful statements and actions, particularly if they go unchallenged by those at the top. All right. It's hard to know where to begin in dissecting this abject madness. In encountering the leftist mindset, I feel much as I feel when walking into one of my kids' rooms and seeing the chaos of toys and debris strewn all over the place. I don't know where to begin in cleaning it up. Fortunately, I don't have to. I tell them to do it. It's their room, knowing full well that they're just going to stuff everything under the bed. I have a don't ask, don't tell policy on those sorts of things. Just get the mess out of my sight. I don't care where it goes. Mommy feels differently. You know that if she's telling you to, but for me, I don't want to see it. In any case, back on subject. In trying to sort through the mess of leftist psychosis on display here, I suppose we could start with the fact that the three-finger symbol is not a white power symbol and never was. The left simply decided at some point that it is or should be and announced that heretofore, if you arrange your fingers in that way, you're a racist, whether you meant to be or not. And we could also note the truly diabolical lunacy inherent in the idea that intent doesn't matter. The outraged members of the contestant community, the newest marginalized group on display on the scene here, maybe they'll get added to the LGBT acronym, LGBTQIACC for contestant community. But they say that even if he didn't mean to flash a white power sign, he should still apologize for their misinterpretation. Of course, the truth is exactly the opposite. If you wildly misconstrue someone else's meaning and intent and accuse them of saying something they didn't say, it's you who should apologize. You're at fault. I don't have to apologize to you for your false accusations against me. We might also mention the incredible fragility demonstrated here. We hear so much about white fragility, but what can we say about a person who feels traumatized and attacked by the number 3? And how do these people ever watch Sesame Street? Today's number is number 3. They go screaming out of the rooms, hide under the bed. Make it stop. What is there to be said about people who are suffering PTSD because of the way a Jeopardy contestant positioned his fingers? This is a maniacal level of fragility. These are people who in saner times would be committed to asylums. I'm not even kidding. These are people who should be in lunatic asylums. They are psychotic. Now, these are all things that we might say if we wanted to defend Kelly Donohue from these outrageous attacks. But I have a policy that I've told you before about defending people from the cancel mob. I only defend those who are willing to defend themselves, and there's a reason for that. I can't defend you if you're going to kneecap me in mid-defense by apologizing for doing the very thing that I was just defending. And so I can't defend Donohue, sadly. I can't defend him because of this, which he posted to his Facebook yesterday. Here's what he said. I'm truly horrified with what has been posted about me on social media. I absolutely, unequivocally condemn white supremacy and racism of any kind. People who know me personally know that I'm not a racist, but for the public at large, it bears repeating. I am not a racist, and I reject and condemn white supremacy and all forms of bigotry for the evil they are. It's shameful to me to think anyone would try to use the stage of Jeopardy to advance or promote such a disgusting agenda. During the taping of my 4th episode, I was simply raising 3 fingers to mark my 3rd win. There was nothing more I was trying to indicate. I deeply regret this terrible misunderstanding. I never meant to hurt a soul, and I assure you, I am no friend of racists and white supremacists. I removed the previous post because the comments were more than I could bear. I stand by the statements itself, and you could find it reported in other media. I did, however, understand the fair criticism that I didn't include a forceful condemnation of white supremacy in my initial statement. I hope my feelings on that matter are clear now. Okay. Well, Kelly, you're on your own, bud. With that, you're on your own. Not going to get a defense. Not going to get any sympathy, because I am tired of this. I'm tired of it. I know it can be overwhelming when you've got thousands of people coming after you, accusing you of being racist, saying these things that aren't true. Happens to me a lot. But we need to require of each other a little bit of a spine, just a little bit. Not asking for much. Apologizing and barking on command like a dog because these scumbags told you to. Condemning white supremacy like there's any reason for you to do it, as if there was ever any indication at all that you're a white supremacist. No. Now I lump you in with them. Now I feel the same way about you as I do about the rest of them. I do. Now here's the thing. When you apologize for something, you admit guilt. Now you're not guilty, obviously. All you did was hold up 3 fingers. But you've admitted guilt for something you didn't do. Because you can't apologize for something. You can't actually apologize for something that you didn't do, right? The apology doesn't mean anything. It's like if someone, if Bob comes up to you and tells you that Jim just punched him in the face, are you going to say, oh, I apologize for that? You didn't do it. What are you apologizing for? Or better yet, because in this case, nothing happened at all. It's better if someone comes up to you and says that, and accuses you of sending your invisible dragon over to their house to burn it down. And you say, I apologize for that. No, you didn't do it. So by apologizing, in order to apologize, you must admit guilt. It comes with the territory. Inherent in the apology is an admission of guilt. And that's why it becomes impossible to defend you. You said you were guilty, basically. Now, the appropriate response to this, Kelly, is to say to the people accusing you of this, F you. I apologize for nothing. You people owe an apology to me, you lunatics. And by the way, I'm going to sue you for defamation. I need all of you personally to apologize to me publicly and beg for my forgiveness, or I will not stop until I have bankrupted you all in court. That's what the response should have been. But it wasn't, so Kelly Donohue was canceled. All the people trying to cancel him are canceled. And again, we end the week with a round of cancellation for everyone, which is always a fun way to end it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with all your friends.